The spark that lit the fire of South Africa's increasingly powerful far-left third party started on a hill near the Lonmin Platinum Mine in Marikana in 2012. In the worst incident of police violence since the end of apartheid, police shot dead 34 striking miners. As South Africa approaches a national election this year, it's clear that that spark has become a fire in the shape of the economic freedom fighters, the first third party to seriously challenge South Africa's political order in 25 years. VOA's Anita Powell visited the community where it all began and asked them what they see in South Africa's political future.
The mining town of Marikana is where South African police in 2012 shot dead 34 striking mine workers. Anger over their killings sparked a movement that is changing the country's politics. Wendy Pretorius supported the long-dominant African National Congress until the deadly strike.
The time the killings happened, I was there and with the other women. So we were singing, waiting for the president of the country, Jacob Zuma. And Jacob Zuma, he never pitched. So it's where we started to say, you know what, it seems like we are not belong here at South Africa.
Pretorius joined the left-wing Economic Freedom Fighters Party when it launched in Marikana in 2013 and was elected 3 years later as the party's ward councillor. In this province, the EFF edged out the nation's main opposition, the Democratic Alliance. Marikana resident Nomkholisi Mafalwana says South Africa's third party has brought positive change.
EFF has made a good change. He's trying because this place is not a place that you can see that there is a people who live here. It's a place that who live pigs, not people.
Critics of the party point to leaders' fiery rhetoric, its early scuffles in parliament, and the lawmakers' resolve to wear bright red workmen's outfits. But in the past year, the EFF has encroached on the ANC's traditional base, South Africa's poor black majority. And it has won support for the controversial idea of land redistribution without compensation. University of Johannesburg EFF chairperson David Rapunga says they want to redress historic inequalities by taking back land seized by European settlers.
When you have land, you are able to nationalize. Nationalize your banks, can nationalize your mines, all the resources and the profit that are going to come back to the people, that are going to benefit the people of South Africa, Africa, and other parts of the world at large.
Rapunga says EFF supporters want what was promised to all South Africans when the apartheid regime fell in 1994, a stake in their nation's potential. Back in Marikana, Mafalwana agrees.
We want jobs. We don't have jobs. We want roads here. We want houses. We want electricity. And water.
And bit by bit, vote by vote, she says, the people will make those desires clear when they head to the polls on May 8th. Anita Powell, VOA News, Marikana, South Africa.
The United Nations mission in South Sudan is working with army commanders to tackle conflict-related sexual violence in the country. At a workshop organized by the mission, discussions were on eliminating the abuse of women and girls, which has been endemic since the civil war broke out in 2013.
These army commanders lead thousands of troops in the South Sudan's People's Defense Force across the country, and they are key to making a difference in ending sexual violence against women and girls in the war-torn country. At this special workshop organized by the United Nations mission in the capital, Juba, they gathered to discuss solutions to conflict-related sexual violence. The Chief of Defense Forces is aware of the several charges leveled against this institution, including recruitment of child soldiers.
We should not be seen as repulsive or denying the accusations, but instead we will have to correct or look into the matter and try to come up with an amicable solution. The most important is to refrain from committing such crimes against women and children.
The United Nations Mission Force Commander explains the need for the country to actively combat sexual violence.
The UN is well aware that eliminating conflict-related sexual violence involves changing attitudes and behaviors, which often requires long periods of time. Nevertheless, it is important to continue addressing it through sustained commitments and action.
Another senior government official pleads with the army leaders to be proactive in dealing with the conduct of their officers.
After all, South Sudan females are our mothers, they are our wives, they are our sisters, and they are our daughters. Is there a man in this normal census who would condone such acts against a family member? Absolutely, the answer would be no.
The commanders and other stakeholders here aim to develop a new action plan to better tackle conflict-related sexual violence in the country.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. In Zimbabwe, the high cost of bread is forcing citizens to look for alternatives to this basic commodity as food shortages and soaring prices continue to worsen. Columbus Mavunga reports for VOA from Harare.
Bread has joined the list of goods in short supply, causing its price to spiral beyond the reach of many Zimbabweans. Now many are becoming accustomed to having tea, a favorite morning beverage, without the bread. Gibson Nema now sells bread substitutes.
Now sometimes we have our thick porridge, sweet potatoes, green mealies. If we can get bread once a week, that will be it. But we no longer miss it because it is now expensive. If the government would push the price of bread and flour down, that would go very well with our way of living. We have no cash. If it remains expensive, I will not be able to buy dinner if I buy bread.
While business is booming for vendors like Nema, these are very tough times for those who sell bread.
There used to be a lot of bread, but these days people are no longer buying like what they used to do before.
Why?
Because the prices are getting high each time. We used to sell this bread for about $1. Now it's costing about $2.50. So you can just see how it's like. People cannot afford it.
Minister of Industries Mangaliso Ndlovu recently said he found a company that could make bread using local ingredients to help ease the shortage and control price. But farmers say they do not have the infrastructure to produce wheat in a cost-effective way. They are calling on President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government to help.
Irrigation infrastructure and obviously the impact of land reform has had its impact on wheat production. It got down to a very low level at one point. It's come up, but for it to grow on a sustainable basis, the bottom line is farmers need a decent price and millers need to cover their costs and contractors need to be able to get the supplies that they need at affordable prices.
As government and industry officials search for a solution, Zimbabweans like Gibson Nema keep thinking of alternatives for something as basic as their daily bread. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Harare.